Hello, everybody. It's Curtis with the Bankruptcy Information and Reestablishment Center. Wanted to reach out today and let everybody know that we're going to be offering a free newsletter. So we want you to be part of that. And so I'm going to give you guys some information for you to fill out a form and so that you can subscribe to our newsletter. And in that newsletter, we are going to offer free tips and tools and resources on how to reestablish your credit really fast after bankruptcy. But before I get to that, I wanted to give you guys a little backstory about me, okay? I was fresh out of the military after high school and did not go to college. My parents did not teach me the ways of credit, right? I came from a lower blue collar background, grew up in a duplex. So not a lot of wisdom was bestowed upon me by my parents in finances. So I had no idea. I didn't know what credit cards were. We didn't participate in any of that as a child. So growing up, I went away to the military right after graduation. And during that, the 4 years I spent in the Army, there were opportunities for me to get credit cards. I even bought a car. I was able to do that. And then at the end of my military career, right, I only spent 4 years in, still with no real knowledge of finances, although, I know I had to pay my bills. I come out of the military without a job, right? And this was the early 90s, early to mid 90s. I think I was making $5 an hour. And I thought, well, I'm going to go to school, right? I'm going to go to college. I got the GI Bill. And so I did. I went to college on the GI Bill and found out real quick college wasn't my thing, mostly because real life got in the way, right? So these bills that I did have had to be paid. So for that, I had to get a full-time job. So I was trying to go to school full-time, work full-time, and school ended up losing in that. So I went to work at $5 an hour, and I just struggled financially, absolutely struggled. Got behind on everything. And then the late pays started happening. I started getting collections. I started getting garnishments from credit card companies. And this is all when I was 21 years old, 21 years old. And I didn't know what to do. And I spoke with family about, hey, what do I do? What do I do? They're garnishing my check. Which, man, looking back on it now, that was a tough circumstance. That was hard. And at 21 years old, I found out what bankruptcy was. And I don't remember who explained it to me or how I found out about it, but I just, it became an option. And I filed a Chapter 13, which some of you may know is a debt repayment program. So your debt doesn't go away. You pay a lot of it back through monthly payments. I was on a 3-year plan, so I signed up for that. And I got to keep my car, and I was still struggling. Right? The struggle did not stop. So eventually I converted my Chapter 13 to a Chapter 7 and it ended up wiping out all my debt. I should have just done that in the first place, but I didn't know, right? Nobody told me. I thought it was the honorable thing to do to try to pay my debts back. And I struggled, and I think I did that for a year. In that time frame, from a 13 to a 7, that 1 year period, I think is what it was, I met my fiance. My future wife, still my wife to this day. And she helped me get a lot of things in order. But what was so unfortunate is that even, back in the 90s, subprime was just ramping up, getting going. And subprime, I mean, bad credit financing. People with bad credit being able to get financing. Because prior to the 90s, you just didn't. If you had bad credit, you didn't get any financing. But in the 90s, it brought forth this subprime boom. And I wasn't aware of it, right? Being a very young man, very newly married. And so I got married, 22 years old. My wife had good credit. I had horrible credit, obviously. The whole first part of our marriage, my wife had to put everything in her name. And that's embarrassing. That's horrible. And I felt like less of a person for that. And it took 7 to 8 years for my personal credit reports to start to change. Early on, I didn't apply for anything. I didn't do anything with my credit. I didn't think I could. I thought I was finished. I thought it would be, 10 years they told me before I could apply for anything. So I really didn't start applying for credit cards or car loans. In fact, everything was in my wife's name. The house, she got a house, we got a house in her name, our cars, credit cards. I was the breadwinner, but everything was in her name. So that was horrible. And then slowly over time, I got my credit back. Part of that is because I was in the car business. I was a car salesman. And being a car salesman, you deal a lot with credit, right? With people's credit. And so I got to see what was happening specifically within the bankruptcy world. And it gave me a wealth of knowledge. And since that time, since I got out of the car business and I started working at the Bankruptcy Information Center, which has been the last 25, 26 years, a lot of information has been gleaned from tens, hundreds of thousands of people that I've talked to over this last 2 decades, helping them get reestablished. I've learned a lot. I'm ready to share that knowledge with you. I want to share that knowledge with you. You can come back from a bankruptcy within just 2 years. If you do everything right, you can be completely reestablished. So I want to help you do that. Some of this information is going to be that newsletter. Please fill out the form, just some information so we can get this to you, your name and your email address. It's that simple. So I'd appreciate it. Thank you for letting me share my story. I hope to be helping you guys sometime soon. Thanks, and have a good day.